there was one question from Sherry. Is there a resolution to the problem of where you need to assign a task to two people, for example, reference screening or data extraction? And Rebecca has answered to say that at the moment you would add a duplicate task. So you just add a copy of the existing task, and that we're considering of whether we want to allow assigning a task to more than one person. But at the moment, the solution is to add a copy of the task.
Right. So if we were doing this in RevMan, for example, for title abstract screening, we would click on our plus here. We could type in another title abstract screening, assign that to another person here, and move it up above our full text screening so that there would be two of the same task.
Right. Yeah. Then the next question is, can RevMan be used for rapid reviews or overviews of reviews as well, or just for systematic reviews?
Yeah, so yes, it can be used for for rapid reviews and overviews of reviews. I believe, I think Gert, can you speak to the different kind of project templates if we have project templates set up for rapid and overviews of reviews at this time?
Yeah. What we've tried to do while setting up the project types and the project templates is to make sure that they are as broadly applicable as possible. So I think this is also part of the reason why we have only a single title and abstract screening task, because like in different reviews, you might want to organize this in different ways and divide the work to different authors in different ways. So essentially, all of the tasks should apply to all of the review types that we support, and that includes rapid and overviews. Let me just double check. I think that was all of the kind of generally relevant questions so far. So yeah, keep them coming in the chat if you still have a burning question. I'll hand back over to
Sure.
Rachel.
Thank you. So one thing I did want to show, taking advantage of that everyone is here, is to remind everyone about our Cochrane review, our template that we have for reviews. So you can find this within the RevMan knowledge base, which I already have open here. But if you want to access it from within RevMan itself, there's this help icon at the top, and you would click on the knowledge base and it will open it for you here. And you can, if you put in template, the first search is the Cochrane review template here. So if we go to this page, the review template is kind of shows recommended guidance that we have for intervention reviews in our not so new anymore, but focused review format. And to open the template, you would click on this blue link here that says create my copy of the review template. And this will open as a practice review in RevMan. So you would log in with your Cochrane account, as I just did, and I already have one open, of course, so I will open the existing one I already have, but you would click open new and show up here. So this is, very clearly is a practice review, but the meat of the template is in the different sections of your review here. So for example, let's go into the results description of studies section. Within each part of the template, it shows you guidance about what you should be reporting in this section. So for example, there's also guidance links here for different chapters from the Cochrane Handbook. Our kind of a recommended way of working with this template is in a kind of split screen side by side. So I'll show you that. So say, for example, yes, I'm working on description of studies in my results. Within my review, I would go to the results section and description of studies, and I can kind of drag over this tab and then click here so that I have both of these open side by side. And I can say, okay, here's what I'm supposed to show in this section for reporting. And do I have that? Sure. Yes. Yes, I certainly do. Or, oh, shoot, I don't. I need to add, for example, how in the Prisma diagram, and I haven't linked that here I'm just making up for an example, but throughout the whole review, there's guidance about what should be reported in your review in our focused review format here, with Prisma guidance highlighted as well as, and different links to Cochrane standards. So we've had some questions in the past about how to best use the review template, and this is our recommended way of working. If your review was created after kind of the creation of this template, the template text will be in your review already. So you would, of course, want to kind of review that, make sure you're reporting everything, but then, of course, please do remove the template text from a given section in your review. So I wanted to take the opportunity to show that. Again, that's available within the RevMan knowledge base, and by clicking this link, create my copy of the review template. So I'll just go back to my presentation to close our session here. So please do, as I mentioned, these features are newly created, or newly launched, I guess, for reviews managed in RevMan. And we really want feedback on what you think of the features, how could they be improved, so that they're more useful for you as you're working on your protocols and reviews. So we have within the dashboard, the help link that I showed you just now, we have the knowledge base, the Cochrane handbook, lots of other resources for you. But in particular, I wanted to draw your attention to these two links. If there's a technical problem as you're working in RevMan, please do report it using this report a problem link that will open a web form that you can fill in that comes to the support team. Similarly, the make a suggestion link is there for you as well, to suggest, ways that you think that these features could work better. Not necessarily, of course, for a technical problem, but just a suggestion for improvement. The Cochrane support team receives all of these. We look at all of them individually, and if needed, contact you for further details before passing them on to the RevMan team. And yeah, now I will go back to Gert in case there are any more questions.
I've got two more for you.
Okay.
So the first one is, if we adjust the date of submission, or like in general due dates on the tasks, will it change the due date for submission, or do we still need to ask support to change the deadline?
Yeah, you would still need to ask support. So RevMan and EM talk to each other in that the date that's in EM comes in to be visible on the RevMan dashboard as I've shown, but it doesn't kind of go the other direction. So please do, if you need a change to your due date, please do contact the support team, and we'll coordinate with the Central Ed Service to update that date, which will then show up in potentially the next day will show up in your review dashboard in RevMan.
Okay, and then there's a question: is there a template for review updates?
So the template is for all kind of intervention reviews. So the what and in terms of showing what should be reported in each section. So now I'm wondering if you're talking about the milestones and tasks or the review template. So for both of them, it should be relevant for both producing reviews and producing updates. Similarly, because with producing a review update, and milestones and tasks, you would essentially go through a similar process of running your search, checking the studies, and all of those steps. So as Gert mentioned, the milestones and tasks template is set up so that it would be relevant for both. In terms of the review intervention review template that I showed with the text that you want to report in each section, that will be relevant also for reviews or for updates.
Great. And they're still coming in. So there's another question, which is, have you ever heard that Cochrane didn't accept a review before the due date? I mean, maybe that's supposed to say after the due date. I'm not quite sure I understand the
Yeah,
question.
so I think sure. I'm guessing that this is relates to kind of our standard, the language in the invitation from editorial manager, which says we've set your due date. We don't plan to submit until this due date. Typically, this is the time that's set for the due dates from Central Editorial Service generally reflect the amount of time that we expect needs to be taken to produce a high quality Cochrane review. But if you have, it should say in those communications, if you have an issue, you have funding for a review that needs to be completed by a certain date or something like that, please do just get in touch with Cochrane support to let us know that you need an adjustment to your due date. I think that's a good answer for that for now. Similarly, I believe if your review is due to the Central Editorial Service and it is, I think, more than 3 months overdue, you'll get some reminders from us with increasing kind of urgency of please get in touch to let us know when you're planning to submit. And after not hearing from people for quite a time, we do remove invitations to submit. So do please follow up with support if it's, if you're delayed on your review and won't be able to submit by the date that you have on your dashboard that's showing up for the invitation, we can adjust that for you.
Okay. So there's a clarification. This was actually about submitting long before the due date rather than after.
Yeah. So in that case, if there's a kind of a reason that you need to submit long before, please do get in touch with support and let us know your review title, and we can find the invitation in the system for you.
Yeah, and I guess there's still quite a high workload in the Central Editorial Service, which means they might not be able to process it early.
Yeah, correct. So it could be, the Central Ed Service has a very high volume of submissions, particularly right now in the last part of this year. And because of that, it may be that it takes a little while to begin processing your submission, particularly if it's coming in much ahead of schedule. But yeah, again, for specific cases, best practice is to get in touch with support.
Great. All right. So there's one more question that's come in, and this is about availability of the review templates to non-Cochrane users. And I'm not entirely sure whether this is about availability of the Cochrane template or about being able to set up their own templates.
Oh, okay. That's a good question. So everyone who is working on a Cochrane review project will have these milestones and tasks kind of set up automatically in their review. If you're working on in a different organization, you have the ability to kind of set up your own task and milestone templates, as I mentioned, and kind of using the same functionalities that I showed in this. You can set this up. There is functionality within kind of the organizational administration for your organization to set up, templates for your organization. You can view within the RevMan knowledge base. You can in the organization management section. There's lots of different pages, but the Cochrane project templates are available here. These are the 4 kind of different project templates that we have set up within the Cochrane organization. And within each one, it shows kind of the overall milestone as well as the different tasks that are within the milestone. So if you want to set up your organization to kind of mimic Cochrane's, you can do so. I think we'll maybe need to take offline if there's a way for us to kind of share these milestone and task templates with an organization so you don't have to set them up yourself. I'm not sure of the answer to that, Gert, if you.
Um, that's something that we could um, look into, but it's not something that we can that we have set up right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. The intervention review template that I showed is freely available within the RevMan knowledge base. So to find it, so everyone can kind of search for it within the knowledge base here. If you type in template, the Cochrane review template is here. It opens as I mentioned, opens a practice review with all of the guidance and reporting as expected. So that is available to everyone. It will use kind of one of your practice review, your ability to create a practice review while you have it open. But yeah, it's available to everyone.
Yeah, and I do believe that this, like, it's a public template that
Mm-hmm.
I think organizations and individual subscribers can also use to create their own full
Mm-hmm.
reviews. Is that right?
Oh, that's a great question. I believe so, yes.
Just one question from another Rachel, asking whether the tasks and milestones were relevant just to intervention reviews or more widely.
Oh, that's a great question. Thanks, Rachel. So they were initially designed to be fairly generic so that they would apply for many different types of reviews. So they're not just relevant for intervention reviews. And then during the demo, I'll show you how they can be kind of increasingly customized if there are particular tasks for only a given type of review that you want to add to the work kind of for your authoring team.
So then another couple of questions about due dates and invitations to submit. So first of all, if the due date has passed, can you still submit or do you need to request a new invitation? So for example, if you had a submission date in September 2024, can you submit now?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a couple of things on this. You will receive, well, the corresponding author at least will receive multiple reminder emails about submission due dates coming up with increasing levels of urgency about the need to get in touch with us to let us know about your submission plans. I do believe it's after 3 months of overdue submission without any contact from the author teams, the invitation will be closed. If that has been the case and you had a prior invitation to submit, please do, or basically at any time about your invitation to submit, please contact the Cochrane support team, support@cochrane.org, to kind of discuss kind of your plans for submission as well as reopening an invitation to submit. We also would ask if you're working on your review, you see your submission date here, and at some point it becomes clear, well, we're just really not going to make that submission date. You can contact support as early as possible to request an extension. There's not a problem at all with us granting extensions. But please do let us know as soon as you can if this seems really off base for when you'll be able to complete, as that helps with our kind of the forecasting of how many reviews are coming into the central editorial service over the coming months.
So essentially, if that green submission due chip is still visible, you can still submit. If it disappears because you've ignored all the reminders, then the review would lock and you would need to contact support to get a new invitation. And that relates to the last question in the chat, which was about how do you move a review that is currently locked? How do you turn that into a focused review with a submission due date?
Yeah, of course. So the best kind of first port of call for any queries like that would be contacting Cochrane support. We have, I will say with this migration, we have identified a few places where there are open invitations to submit, but something on the back end of our tech has gone wrong, and so it has led reviews to be read-only. So I would recommend the first point of call for support, because we can look into the details of a specific situation to see whether it was a tech issue, whether, you know, we centrally were not aware that work was going on with this review. And in some cases, it may be necessary to submit a proposal for a review update, if that's the case. But yeah, each case will be different. So please contact support as your first contact about why the review has been made read only.
I just have one question from Garda or Gada, apologies if I've got that wrong, who asks about using RevMan for non-Cochrane reviews. So the question is saying, I've used RevMan for Cochrane reviews. I'm interested in using it for non-Cochrane. Can I just use it, or do I need certain subscriptions or permissions?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I will actually go back to my browser and show you. So you will have the ability to use it for any Cochrane review that you are a registered author on, and that has a current invitation to submit to the Central Editorial Service. If that's not the case and you want to use it for a non-Cochrane review, you can go to revman.cochrane.org/info. And I'll show that here. It has information on how you can subscribe for either individual use, raise this with your information specialist, your librarians at your institution, in case you think your institution might be interested in an institutional subscription. And then with that, all of the information that you need for pricing and different discounts if you're in a low and middle income country, or are a student or an academic or a Cochrane author. There's lots of different discounts that are available as well. So this would be the best place to go for exploring those. And if you have any issues with subscribing, you can contact Cochrane support.